The scalding American coffee splashed on Luna's cleaning uniform. The liquid spread on the faded workwear front, creating a stain. Scalding cold brew Americano mixed with oat milk splattered all over Luna's navy blue janitor uniform. The deep brown liquid spread across the faded front of her work clothes like an ugly stain, dripping down the hem onto the most expensive handwoven wool rug in the San Francisco Tech campus, an Italian import Ethan Voss had purchased just last month for nearly $10,000. The care manual clearly stated, blot liquid spills immediately with neutral detergent. Permanent staining will occur otherwise. Luna didn't flinch. She didn't even blink. Instead, she dipped her chin slightly, fixing her gaze on the wet patch spreading rapidly across the rug. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, gilding her shoulder-length ash-blonde hair and highlighting her sharp jawline. Only her slate-blue eyes, cold as a frozen Lake Michigan, remained utterly calm, no flicker of emotion in them. "Are you blind?" Sophia's shrill voice sounded like nails scraping glass. She stood in 4-inch Christian Louboutin red-soled heels, glaring down at Luna. Her Cartier diamond bracelet glinting so brightly it hurt the eyes. "Didn't you see me bringing coffee to Mr. Voss? What right does a janitor have to stand outside the CEO's top-floor office?" Luna straightened slowly. At just over 5 feet 3 inches, she still carried the worn janitor uniform with an unyielding posture. "Ms. Sophia," her voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the air, clear enough to reach the department heads passing by at the end of the hall. "First, I'm cleaning the common area per the campus janitorial guidelines. This hallway is not part of the CEO's private office space. Second, you deliberately threw that coffee. Security cameras will confirm I stood 3 feet away, no physical contact whatsoever. Third," she knelt down, pulling a bottle of White House-approved neutral detergent and a microfiber cloth from the side pocket of her cleaning cart, blotting the stain with practiced movements. "HR sent a company-wide Slack memo about this rug's care instructions last week. Did you not read it?" Sophia's face turned the color of overripe liver. She'd planned this. Ever since this Luna had been transferred to the top floor 3 days ago. Ethan had been looking at her differently. Yesterday, during the strategy meeting, he'd actually asked Luna to pick up a tablet he'd dropped and said, "Watch the glass shards." A hourly wage janitor didn't deserve that kind of concern from Silicon Valley's youngest tech tycoon. The angrier Sophia got, the more determined she became. This morning, she'd happened by with Ethan's favorite cold brew, hoping to make Luna cry and apologize. Then Ethan would see how disrespectful this janitor was and send her back to cleaning the parking garage bathrooms. But instead of breaking down, Luna had talked back, and even used HR rules against her. "You dare talk back?" Sophia snapped, reaching out to shove Luna's shoulder. "You want to get fired? Just wait till I tell Supervisor George to kick you out today." Luna didn't look up, but her wrist twisted subtly to avoid the push. At the same time, her iPhone on the cart handle lit up. She'd hit record the second Sophia raised her hand. "Ms. Sophia," she said, finishing the last blot and tossing the dirty cloth into a sorted trash bag, per Section 7 of the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA. Employers must provide written justification for termination. I can ask HR to send you the exact clause. "You," Sophia's whole body trembled with rage. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. She clutched her neck and shrieked, "My necklace. The Tiffany diamond necklace Ethan gave me. It's gone." Her scream drew a crowd instantly. Passing product managers and designers craned their necks. Sophia pointed at Luna, her voice cracking with fake tears. "You were the only one close to me. You must have stolen it, you filthy thief." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Really? Didn't top-floor janitors go through FBI background checks? Look how shabbily she's dressed. She probably needs the money." "That necklace, Ethan gave it to her for her birthday. It's worth at least $50,000. Sophia smirked at Luna, waiting for her to panic, to drop to her knees and beg. If she could pin theft on Luna, the woman would not only get fired, she'd have a criminal record, and no tech company in Silicon Valley would ever hire her again. But Luna just stared back calmly, even a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Ms. Sophia," she said, pulling a velvet box from her pocket and holding it out. "Is this what you're looking for?" When she opened the box, tiny diamonds glinted in the sunlight. It was exactly the Tiffany pendant necklace Sophia had been wearing. Sophia froze. How did you get my necklace?" "You moved so violently when you threw the coffee that it slipped out of your neckline and fell into the rug's fibers," Luna explained, setting the box on a nearby marble coffee table. She pulled up a video on her phone. I recorded it to avoid misunderstanding. Should I cast it to the screen for everyone to see? Footage clearly showed Sophia deliberately flinging the coffee, the necklace slipping off, and even her shout of, "You must have stolen it." Every detail was crystal clear. The murmurs turned to gasps. So Sophia set her up on purpose. That's disgusting, framing a janitor for theft just to get rid of her. No wonder Luna recorded it. She's probably used to being bullied. Sophia's face alternated between red and white. She clenched her silk skirt so tight her knuckles whitened, wanting nothing more than to vanish into the floor. She lunged for Luna's phone to delete the video, but a cold voice stopped her mid-step. "Stop." Ethan walked down the hall. In a custom Tom Ford suit, his shirt collar buttoned perfectly, his sage-green eyes behind gold-rimmed glasses cut like blades. When they landed on Sophia, his disgust was unhidden. "Mr. Voss!" Sophia cried, scrambling toward him like a drowning person grabbing a lifeline. "It's not what it looks like. She framed me. She stole my necklace and faked this video." "Faked?" Ethan stepped back, avoiding her touch. He nodded at the security chief beside him. "Pull up the surveillance footage." The top floor's 360-degree 4K cameras had captured everything: Sophia throwing coffee, framing Luna, Luna's calm counterattack, the necklace, the video, every second of it. As Sophia watched the screen, her legs gave out. She would have collapsed if a designer hadn't caught her. Ethan's gaze shifted to Luna. He remembered her. The new top-floor janitor who rarely spoke but worked efficiently. Even the finicky phalaenopsis on his office windowsill looked lusher since she'd started caring for it. Yesterday, during the meeting, he'd watched her kneel to pick up his tablet. Her fingers were slender but steady, no trace of the timidity most janitors showed. When the coffee hit her, he'd been reviewing financial reports in his office. He'd stepped out at the noise, and seen her kneeling to blot the rug, her back straight as a rod. No anger, just the calm of someone completing a routine task. Until she'd pulled out the necklace and the video. That calm had sharpened, like a knife finally leaving its sheath. "What's your name?" Ethan asked. "Luna." "Report to HR tomorrow." Ethan's tone was flat, but everyone, including Luna, stiffened in surprise. "You'll be the only janitor on the top floor from now on." Sophia's head snapped up. "Mr. Voss, you can't." "Sophia," Ethan cut her off, his voice icy, "you're fired, effective immediately. Pay $1,200 for the rug cleaning. Keep your necklace, don't embarrass yourself by wearing it again." He didn't spare her another glance. Turning toward his office, he paused beside Luna and said, "Come in. Wipe the windowsills in my office." Luna hesitated, then grabbed her cleaning supplies and followed him inside. In the office, Ethan sat behind his wide walnut desk, typing rapidly on his keyboard as if the hallway drama had never happened. Financial data filled his screen. Luna said nothing. She walked to the windows, picked up a rag, and started wiping the sills. Sunlight fell on her profile, highlighting the fine down on her cheeks. When she wiped around the phalaenopsis pot, she carefully avoided the new buds, her fingers pausing for a split second when they brushed a leaf, as if afraid of breaking something precious. Ethan's eyes drifted from his screen to her hands. They were ordinary hands, with slightly reddened knuckles and calluses from hard work. But there was something almost rhythmic about how she wiped the sills, like she was operating precision equipment, not cleaning. "What did you do before this?" he asked suddenly. Luna's movements faltered, then resumed. "Odd jobs." Ethan didn't press further. He knew she was lying. Her professional blotting technique for the rug, her knowledge of the FLSA, even the quiet authority she'd shown in the hallway, none of that came from being a $20 an hour janitor. But he didn't care to dig deeper. All he knew was that this Luna was far easier to tolerate than Sophia, who relied on cheap tricks and gossip to get her way. When Luna finished wiping the sills and turned to leave, Ethan spoke again. "Wait." She stopped and looked back. Ethan nodded at a manila envelope on the corner of his desk. "Take this to legal. Tell them to draft a merger addendum and have it on my desk in 10 minutes. Luna walked over and picked up the envelope. It was heavier than it looked. Her finger brushed the opening, and a few pages peeked out. A letter of intent for Voss Technologies' acquisition of Nova Innovations. Luna's pupils contracted sharply. Nova Innovations, her father Daniel's life's work. 3 years ago, Ethan's uncle Ted Voss had stolen Nova's core AI algorithm through underhanded means, colluded with investors to short Nova's stock, and finally bought all of Nova's assets for pennies on the dollar during bankruptcy liquidation. Her father had suffered a stroke from the stress and remained in a Seattle rehabilitation center to this day. And now Ethan was buying Nova. Her fingers trembled slightly, her nails digging into her palm. But she quickly regained her composure. She clutched the envelope and whispered, "Yes, sir," before walking out. The moment the door closed, Ethan stared at her, retreating, his fingers tapping slowly on the desk. Interesting. This Luna had more secrets than he'd thought. The next morning, Luna reported to HR as instructed. She'd just stepped into Voss Technologies' glass-walled lobby when a man in a pink janitor uniform with an afro blocked her path. "You Luna." George planted his hands on his hips, his beady eyes raking over her. His tone dripped with hostility. "Heard Mr. Voss personally picked you for the top floor. Impressive. Climbed the ladder in just 3 days." Luna recognized him, Supervisor George, who loved playing favorites and bullying new janitors. Last month, he'd docked Maria, a Mexican-American janitor, $200 in performance pay for fingerprints on the trash can, when really, Maria had refused to sign his time card for him. Luna tried to step around him. "Supervisor George, I'm here to report for duty." "Hold it." George blocked her again, pulling a time sheet from his pocket. "You left half an hour early yesterday. 50 deduction. Andabrokie ceramic muginthe breakroom last Wednesday. 20 to replace it. I'm cutting a third of your monthly performance bonus too, unprofessional work attitude." Luna stopped and turned to face him. "Supervisor George," her voice stayed calm, "first. I delivered documents to legal on Mr. Voss's orders yesterday afternoon. The round trip took 25 minutes, HR's system has my check-in record. That's not early departure. Second, Sophia broke that mug in the break room. Security cameras will confirm it, and you were there. Third, what specific evidence do you have for unprofessional work attitude?" George's face flushed. He hadn't expected Luna to talk back. "I say you left early, you left early. I say you broke the mug, you broke it. I decide who gets bonuses, got it? You're a new janitor, and you're already mouthing off. I'll have you out of Voss by tomorrow." A few other janitors gathered, but no one dared speak up. George was distant cousins with Linda from HR, and he ruled the janitorial team with an iron fist. Last year, a new hire had argued with him. The next day, the hire was fired for stealing office supplies. Luna looked at George's arrogant face, and smiled. She pulled out her phone and opened a voice recording. It was her conversation with George from yesterday afternoon, when he told her, "Just take the blame for Sophia's mug. A little deduction's nothing, do me this favor, and life on the top floor'll be easier." "Supervisor George," Luna turned up the volume so everyone could hear, "you just said, I decide." George's face turned pale. He lunged for the phone. "You recorded me, delete that now." Luna stepped back, avoiding him. She opened another file, her attendance records and work inspection reports from the past 2 weeks, all signed off by security and administration with excellent ratings. "Also," Luna said, her voice quiet but clear enough for the HR staff gathering nearby to hear, "last month, you docked Maria. 200 for dirty trashcans, but the inspection report had they said pass. You took 100 from 4th floor stains, but cameras show you spilled coffee there yourself. And you make us voluntarily pay $50 a month for cleaning supplies, but the money goes straight to your pocket. I have transfer records and WhatsApp chats from 5 of us to prove it." The crowd erupted. "So that's why my paycheck was $100 short last month. He stole it. That's low. Spilling coffee just to frame someone. We need to talk to Linda about this." George panicked. He grabbed Luna's arm, his voice cracking, "Luna, I'm sorry. I won't dock your pay, I won't frame you. Just delete the recording, I'll pay everyone back, okay?" Luna shake off his hand, her eyes cold. "Supervisor George, an apology won't fix this. Withholding wages, embezzlement, and false accusations violate Section 226 of the California Labor Code, and Section 5 of Voss's Employee Handbook." Just then, Linda from HR walked over, frowning. "What's all this commotion?" George latched onto her like a lifeline. "Linda, she's framing me. She faked the recording and lied about me stealing money. You have to help me." Linda started to speak, but Luna held out her phone. "Linda, see for yourself. The recording, attendance records, transfer receipts, Maria and Juan can testify too." Linda took the phone. Her face darkened as she scrolled through the evidence. She'd known George was dishonest, but she'd looked the other way because of their family ties. But now Luna had laid everything out in front of everyone. If she defended George, she'd ruin her own career. Voss prided itself on compliance. Last year, a department head had been fired just for covering up a subordinate's mistake. George, Linda handed the phone back to Luna, her voice cold. You're fired. Go to finance immediately to settle your wages and repay the stolen money. The company reserves the right to pursue legal action. George stared at her in disbelief. Linda, we're family. You can't. Shut up. Linda snapped. You're no longer a Voss employee, and you're no longer my family. Get out. George's face went ashen. He collapsed to the floor, glaring at Luna with hatred, but he didn't dare say a word. He knew he'd lost. Luna ignored him and turned to Linda. Linda, I'm here to report for the top floor janitor position. Linda finally remembered why she was there. Her expression softened, even forced a smile. Luna, Mr. Voss specifically mentioned you. The top floor janitor role will be classified as an administrative assistant level, $8,000 a month, full benefits, weekends off, plus performance bonuses. Here's your ID badge and contract. Take a look, sign if everything's okay. The other janitors gaped. $8,000 a month, administrative assistant level, Tetwasmar FN Mistov Temedif to your so 14 fair, San Francisco Saverage Janitor salary wasn't $4,500 a month. Luna scanned the contract quickly, no unfair clauses. Clear salary and benefits. She signed her name and handed it back. Thank you, Linda. She took her ID badge and walked out of HR. At the end of the hall, she pulled out her phone and opened an encrypted album. It held photos of her father Daniel and old AI algorithm designs from Nova Innovations. In one photo, Daniel wore a lab coat, grinning and giving a thumbs up in front of a whiteboard covered in equations. Dad, Luna whispered, her finger brushing the photo, I'm one step closer to the truth. Ted, Ethan, no matter who you are, I'll make you pay back everything you took from Nova 3 years ago. On Luna's first official day as the top floor janitor, she ran into an unexpected problem. Spread across Ethan's office table was a massive blueprint, the lobby design for Voss Technologies' new headquarters, created by renowned New York designer Alexander Gautier. Rumor had it the design fee alone was $2 million. Several design department managers huddled around the blueprint, looking grim. Ethan sat on a leather couch nearby, an e-cigarette between his fingers, unlit, his brow furrowed as he studied the plans. Luna had planned to wait until they left to clean, but Ethan waved her over. Continue. She moved quietly, grabbing a rag and starting to dust the bookshelves. The problem's right here, David, the design director, pointed to a corner of the blueprint. The lobby's 39 feet high, and this spiral staircase has too tight a curve, it'll block natural light, and the structure's unstable. Construction will be a nightmare. But the client specifically asked for this flowing design, another manager said. If we change the curve, we'll lose Alexander's vision. Safety comes first. David stamped his foot. If something goes wrong during construction, or if it collapses later, who's gonna take the blame? Oshel find Voss into the ground. Ethan said nothing. He pressed the e-cigarette into the ashtray, his expression darkening. As Luna dusted the top shelf, her eyes glanced at the blueprint. The spiral staircase was flawed. The tight curve shifted the weight load, over 70% would rest on the right support column, and it blocked the main light source, leaving the lobby half in shadow. When she'd interned at Nova, she'd worked with her father on a similar high-ceilinged space design. They'd faced the same problem, and solved it with a double helix load distribution plan, splitting the single spiral into two interlocking smaller curves. It kept the flowing look, spread the weight evenly, and didn't block light. The thought flashed through her mind, but she pushed it away. She was a janitor now, not a designer. Speaking up would only bring trouble. But just as she turned to leave, Ethan called her. Luna, come here. She hesitated, then walked over. Mr. Voss. Ethan pointed to the spiral staircase on the blueprint. Do you see a problem here? The design managers froze. They stared at Luna like she'd grown a second head. A janitor? Mr. Voss was asking a janitor about a blueprint. David couldn't hold back. Mr. Voss, with all due respect, she's a janitor. She doesn't know anything about design. Let her speak. Ethan cut him off, his eyes fixed on Luna, curious. Luna looked at the blueprint, then at Ethan's sage-green eyes, bright, like he was testing her. She was silent for a second, then spoke. 3 problems. First, the tight curve concentrates weight on the right support column. Long-term use risks collapse, which violates OSHA safety standards. Second, it blocks the main light source, creating large shadowed areas in the lobby that'll hurt user experience. Third, custom molds will be needed for construction. Costs will go over budget by at least 15%. David's face turned red. They'd been debating for hours and hadn't summed it up that clearly, yet a janitor had seen it all at a glance. Ethan's eyes lit up. Do you have a solution? Luna hesitated. Speaking up was risky, but this design would cause real danger if built. And it was a Voss project. Ethan was Ted's nephew, maybe this was her chance to get closer to the truth. She knelt down, pulled a pen from her pocket, she used it to jot down cleaning reminders, and quickly sketched on the blank edge of the blueprint, 2 interlocking spiral staircases with a gap between them, perfectly aligned with the main light source. Double helix load distribution, she explained, pointing to the sketch. Split the single spiral into 2 smaller interlocking curves. The weight spreads across 4 support columns, solves the safety issue. The gap lets light through, no more shadows. And smaller curves don't need custom molds, construction costs drop by 10%. The office went silent. David leaned in, staring at the sketch. His eyes widened. Yes. That's it. Why didn't I think of that? Double helix load distribution, keeps the flow, fixes the weight and light issues, and saves money. The other managers crowded around, chattering excitedly. The tension in the room vanished. Ethan looked at Luna, surprise and curiosity mixing in his eyes. Who was this woman? A janitor who could spot professional design flaws and propose a precise solution. Odd Jobs didn't explain that. Did you work in design before? He asked. Luna stood up, slipping the pen back into her pocket. She returned to her calm demeanor. I did some temp work at a tech company once. Saw a few blueprints. Just a guess. She picked up her cleaning supplies. If that's all, Mr. Voss, I'll get back to cleaning. She walked out before he could ask more. The moment the door closed, Ethan pulled out his phone and made a call. Find everything you can on a woman named Luna, she's the new top-floor janitor at Voss. Education, work history, family, don't miss a thing. He hung up and stared at the sketch on the blueprint, his finger tracing the lines. The style. The mentality, it was exactly like Nova Innovations' work 3 years ago. Nova Innovations. Luna. Could she be connected to Nova? Ethan's eyes darkened. He'd always thought Nova's bankruptcy was fishy. Ted had claimed Nova was mismanaged, but Ethan had checked, Nova's AI algorithm was industry-leading, and they'd signed long-term contracts with major clients. A sudden bankruptcy made no sense. If Luna was linked to Nova, then her taking a janitor job at Voss was no accident. Interesting. He couldn't wait to find out what this Luna was really up to. Life settled into a routine for Luna. The top-floor janitor job was quiet. Ethan was rarely in the office, he split time between the Seattle branch and New York headquarters, and when he was there, he only asked her to clean, no more questions. The design team, though, had warmed up to her, especially David, who often asked her design advice and snuck her croissants and cold brew from San Francisco's best bakery. Luna declined politely every time. She didn't want to get close to anyone, too risky for her true identity. That changed on a Friday afternoon. A woman in a white sundress, sweet-looking, with an innocent smile, walked onto the top floor carrying a thermos. She headed straight for Ethan's office. Ethan. Her voice was sickly sweet. I made you butternut squash soup. You've been so busy with the new headquarters, you need to eat properly. Luna was wiping the hallway handrail. She looked up, and recognized her. Olivia, Sophia's cousin. She called herself Ethan's childhood friend, though they'd only met a few times as kids, through Ted's business connections. She showed up at Voss often, pretending to be close to Ethan, but she rarely even got past the lobby security. Olivia saw Luna and flicked a look of disgust her way. But the smile quickly returned. "Excuse me, janitor. Could you take this soup into Ethan? He's in a video call." Luna didn't move. Mr. Voss doesn't allow interruptions during meetings. Per Voss's visitor policy, non-employees need advance approval to enter the top floor, and they're not allowed in office spaces. Non-employee. Olivia's hand flew to her mouth in fake shock. "I'm Ethan's childhood friend. How could I be a non-employee? You're just a janitor, what do you know about workplace rules? Take the soup in now. Or you'll be responsible if you delay Ethan's meeting." Luna frowned. Olivia was just like Sophia, using her vague connection to Ethan to bully people. "Ms. Olivia," her tone stayed flat, "security cameras in Mr. Voss's office will show he's in a video call with New York board members. I can leave the soup on the coffee table outside, he'll have it when the call ends." Olivia's face darkened. She reached out to push Luna. "Who do you think you are, telling me what to do? I'm going in, try to stop me." Luna stepped sideways. Olivia missed her, lost her balance, and dropped the thermos. Butternut squash soup spilled across the floor, splattering her white sundress. "Ah! My dress!" Olivia screamed, dropping to her knees. Tears poured down her face. "Fake," Luna noted. "This is a Chloe dress. I bought it just to see Ethan. It cost $3,000. You clumsy idiot." Her scream drew a crowd. Olivia pointed at Luna, sobbing, "Look what she did. She pushed me on purpose and spilled my soup. She's just jealous of me and Ethan, she's trying to get back at me." Murmurs started. Again. First Sophia, now Olivia. She looked so quiet, who knew she was so mean? Poor Olivia. Luna should pay for the dress. Olivia heard the whispers and cried harder. She glanced at Luna, triumphant. She'd make Luna look like a bully, get her fired, just like Sophia. But Luna just watched Olivia's performance, amused. She pulled out her phone and opened the security footage, clear footage of Olivia shoving her, missing, dropping the thermos, and faking tears. "Ms. Olivia," Luna handed her phone to a nearby product manager, "see for yourself. You pushed me first, I moved out of the way. You lost your balance and dropped the thermos. The camera doesn't lie." Olivia's sobs cut off. Her face turned deathly pale. She hadn't expected Luna to record again. You recorded me." Olivia pointed at her, her voice shaking. "You planned this. You're such a scheming bitch." "I record to protect myself," Luna said, taking her phone back. Her eyes turned cold. "Ms. Olivia, Sophia is your cousin, isn't she? She got fired last week, and now you're here causing trouble. Are you avenging her? Or are you trying to get close to Mr. Voss, hoping to become the next Voss CEO's wife?" The words hit Olivia like a knife. Her face turned purple. "That's a lie. Ethan and I are in love. You're just a lowly janitor, you have no right to talk about us." "In love?" Luna scoffed. "Last month, you were photographed making out with a hedge fund manager at a Los Angeles party. Ethan paid $100,000 Toberitha photos. Last week, you borrowed $50,000 from him to buy a Hermes bag, and you still haven't paid it back. Yesterday, you told your friend on FaceTime, once I marry into the Voss family, the first thing I'll do is fire that janitor Luna. Should I play the recording for everyone?" Olivia froze. How did she know all that? Luna had found out by accident. Last week, while cleaning Ethan's office, she'd seen an email chain with legal about burying the photos and the loan. Yesterday, she'd heard Olivia's FaceTime call in the break room and recorded it. The crowd exploded. So Olivia's just a gold digger, pretending to be innocent. Marry into the Voss family. Ethan would never date someone like her. Disgusting. She wanted to fire Luna for no reason, and Luna's way better than her. Olivia looked around at the disgusted faces. She opened her mouth to defend herself, but no words came out. Luna had told the truth, she couldn't deny it. Just then, Ethan's office door opened. He'd finished his call and heard the noise. He saw the spilled soup, Olivia's messy dress, and the crowd, and instantly understood what had happened. "Olivia," his voice was icy, "are you done?" Olivia scrambled toward him, trying to hug his legs. "Ethan. It's not my fault, she framed me." Ethan kicked her away. "Don't touch me." He looked down at her, no warmth in his eyes. "First, pay back the 50,000 euro at tomorrow, otherwise legal will sue you. Second, repay the 100,000 for the photos. Third, you're banned from all Voss buildings. If you step foot on any property, security will drag you out." Olivia collapsed to the floor, her face ashen. Tears streamed down her cheeks, real ones, this time. She knew she was ruined. Ethan ignored her. He turned to Luna. "Clean this up." "Yes, sir." Luna grabbed her cleaning supplies and started mopping the soup. Security dragged Olivia out. As she passed Luna, she shot her a venomous look, but didn't dare say a word. When Luna finished cleaning and turned to leave, Ethan called her. "Luna." She stopped and looked back. Ethan stared at her, his expression complicated. "Who are you, really?" Luna was silent for a second. Then she lifted her head, meeting his eyes. "No more challenge. Mr. Voss, who I am doesn't matter. What matters is, do you want to know the truth about Nova Innovation's bankruptcy 3 years ago?" Ethan's pupils contracted sharply. He'd been waiting for this question for a long time. The office curtains were drawn tight. Only a floor lamp cast dim light, making the room feel intimate and tense. Luna sat on the couch, a glass of warm water in her hands. Her fingers trembled slightly, she was finally going to tell the truth. Ethan sat across from her, leaning forward. His eyes were sharp, focused. "Start from the beginning. What happened 3 years ago?" Luna took a deep breath and began. "My name is Luna Moore. I'm the daughter of Daniel Moore, founder of Nova Innovations. 3 years ago, your uncle Ted Voss approached my father. He proposed a partnership to develop a new AI voice assistant, told my father to hand over Nova's core algorithm and client lists, promising 30% equity in the joint project. My father believed him, he was so eager to see Nova's technology make a real impact. But when the project was almost finished, Ted pulled his funding. He sold our core algorithm to Google. At the same time, he forged financial statements, framing my father for embezzlement. The banks called in their loans overnight. Clients canceled contracts. Ted had spread rumors that Nova's algorithm had flaws. Nova's cash flow collapsed. My father had a stroke from the stress. Ted took advantage of the bankruptcy to buy all of Nova's assets for $500,000, including 12 patents and over 20 major client relationships. Luna's voice was calm, but Ethan could hear the pain beneath it. He picked up his e-cigarette, lit it, took a drag, and said nothing. "After my father's stroke, I tried to find evidence to sue Ted. But he's too powerful, he's Voss Technologies' largest shareholder, and he's in bed with California politicians. He destroyed all the evidence. No lawyer would take my case." Luna's eyes reddened. "I had no choice. I changed my name, took a janitor job at Voss. I needed to get close to you. I knew you and Ted don't get along. You're the only one at Voss who can take him down." Ethan was silent for a long time. Then he spoke. "Do you have proof?" "Yes." Luna pulled a USB drive from her pocket and handed it to him. "This has a scanned copy of the partnership agreement between my father and Ted. I snuck it before Nova's offices were seized. There are also voice recordings from 3 former Nova employees. They saw Ted's men copy our algorithm. And I found out Ted got a $20 million kickback from Google for selling our patents. He transferred the money to an offshore account in Panama, registered under his illegitimate son's name." Ethan plugged the USB drive into his laptop. He scrolled through the files quickly: the partnership agreement, signed by Ted, the recordings, clear audio of the algorithm being copied, the offshore account transactions, traced via blockchain. The evidence was solid, some gaps, but enough to prove Ted's guilt. He looked up at Luna. "Why trust me? What if I'm on Ted's side?" Luna met his eyes, her gaze steady. "I researched you. When Nova went bankrupt, you were getting your MBA at MIT, you had nothing to do with it. When you came back, Ted sidelined you, sent you to the Seattle branch, gave you trivial projects. You only gained a foothold last year, when you landed the Amazon partnership on your own. And, she added, I saw the letter of intent for Voss to acquire Nova in your office. You didn't sign it immediately, you asked legal to do due diligence. That told me you suspected something was wrong with Nova's bankruptcy. If Ted had known, he would have forced you to sign it, no questions asked. Ethan smiled. This woman was smart and thorough. He put out the e-cigarette, stood up, and walked over to her. All right, I'll help you. Luna's head snapped up. Surprise filled her eyes. Why you will? Not for you, Ethan said, his tone serious. For myself. Ted didn't just destroy Nova. He's been embezzling Voss funds for years. Last year, he stole $50 million to invest in real estate. He's moving company assets to offshore accounts. He deserves to be taken down. I just never had the chance, until now. He held out his hand. Partners? Luna looked at his hand, long fingers, warm palm. She hesitated for a second, then took it. Partners. When their hands touched, Luna's heart skipped a beat. She'd planned to use Ethan's power to get revenge, but looking at his serious eyes, she suddenly realized, this man might not be as cold as he seemed. Ethan felt the warmth of her hand too. He paused for a second, then pulled away, returning to his calm demeanor. We need to do 3 things. First, find the original forged financial statements. They're probably in Voss's old archives. Second, get the former Nova employees to testify. My lawyers will protect them. Third, freeze Ted's Panama account through the SEC. I know an agent there, Mike. He'll help. I'll handle the internal investigation, archives, financial systems, Ethan said. You contact the former Nova employees and collect external evidence, like the Google transaction records. Any problems? No, Luna shook her head. The former Nova employees are loyal to my father. They'll testify if I ask. For Google's records, I have a college roommate in Google's legal department. She can help. Good. Ethan pulled out his phone and called his legal director. Assemble a secret task force. Investigate Nova Innovation's bankruptcy and all of Ted Voss's offshore accounts. Highest security clearance, only report to me. And contact Agent Mike at the SEC, tell him I have critical information. He hung up and turned to Luna. You don't have to be a janitor anymore. Report to the design department tomorrow, be David's assistant. It'll let you access old project files easily. Luna froze. The design department, but my background, I've taken care of it. Ethan handed her a new ID badge. It read, Luna Moore, Design Department Assistant. I updated your background, graduated from California State University, 2 years of design assistant experience. No one will question it. Salaries $12,000 a month, full benefits, plus project bonuses. Luna took the badge. Her fingers brushed the name Luna Moore. For 3 years, she'd hidden who she was. Now, holding this badge, she felt a warmth in her chest. Someone was protecting her, for the first time in years. Thank you, she whispered. Ethan looked at her, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Don't thank me yet. When we take Ted down, buy me the best seafood in San Francisco. Luna looked up at him. His smile was small, but genuine. She found herself smiling back, her first real smile in 3 years. Sunlight slipped through the gap in the curtains, falling on them. It was warm, bright. The road to revenge would be long. But this time, she wasn't alone. Over the next month, Luna and Ethan worked together seamlessly. As David's design assistant, Luna used her access to collect evidence of Ted's cronies in Voss, like the CFO, who was Ted's brother-in-law, and his embezzlement schemes, monthly, consulting fees sent to offshore accounts. Ethan, with Agent Mike's help at the SEC, tracked Ted's offshore account transactions and found the original forged financial statements, hidden in the basement of Voss's old archives. Everything was going according to plan. They just needed to present the evidence at the special board meeting next week, and Ted would be finished. But the night before the meeting, disaster struck. After work, Luna met with Tom, a former Nova employee, at a cafe in San Francisco's Chinatown. Tom had the signed financial documents that proved Ted's forgery. He'd agreed to hand them over that night. The cafe was quiet. Luna sat by the window, sipping a matcha latte. 10 minutes passed, Tom didn't show. She pulled out her phone to call him, but there was no signal, someone was jamming it. A bad feeling settled in her stomach. She stood up to leave, but two men in black suits and sunglasses blocked her way. "Ms. Moore," one said, his voice low, his eyes cold. A snake tattoo peeked out from his cuff. Luna recognized them as Ted's private investigators, from photos she'd found during her research. Luna's heart dropped. Ted's men. She turned to run, but the other man grabbed her arm, yanking her hard. He dragged her out of the cafe. A black SUV waited outside. The door opened, and a masked man, Ted's personal bodyguard, sat inside. "Ms. Moore, don't struggle," the bodyguard sneered. "Mr. Voss has a deal for you. Hand over the evidence, write a letter admitting you framed him, and he'll let you go. Refuse, and you'll never see the sun rise again. Your father's still in that Seattle rehab center. You wouldn't want anything to happen to him, would you?" The threat hit Luna where it hurt. She stopped struggling. They pushed her into the SUV. The door slammed shut, and the car sped away from Chinatown. The SUV drove for hours, into the desolate parts of Oakland. It stopped at an abandoned factory. They dragged Luna out and pushed her inside. Ted sat on a rusted metal chair, a cigar in his hand. His eyes were cold as he stared at her. "Luna Moore," Ted blew out a smoke ring. "I underestimated you. A little girl, manipulating Ethan, trying to take me down. You think your father didn't lose badly enough 3 years ago?" Luna stared back, her eyes icy. "Ted, you destroyed my father and Nova. Now you're threatening me? You think you can get away with this? Ethan has all the evidence. Tomorrow, at the board meeting, you'll be ruined." "Ruined?" Ted laughed, loud and harsh. "You think Ethan can save you? He's still in Voss headquarters, in his little meeting. By the time he realizes you're gone, your body'll be at the bottom of San Francisco Bay." He stood up and walked toward her, reaching for her bag. He knew the evidence was inside. Luna stepped back quickly. She pulled a fruit knife from her bag. She carried it for peeling apples. A habit from her rehab center visits, and pressed it to her throat. "Stay back. One step closer, and I'll kill myself. I sent the evidence to Ethan and Agent Mike at the SEC, killing me won't change anything." Ted froze. He hadn't expected this fragile-looking girl to be so fierce. He smirked. "You expect me to believe that? If you'd sent the evidence, Ethan would be here already. Hand it over, and I'll make your death quick. I'll even take care of your father for you." Just then, the factory doors were kicked open. Bright lights flooded in. "Ted, lay a finger on her and see what happens." Ethan's voice boomed through the factory. He walked in with a dozen security guards and Agent Mike from the SEC. His eyes were filled with a rage Luna had never seen before. Ted's face turned pale. How did you find me?" Ethan walked over to Luna, pulling her behind him. His eyes were murderous. "You really thought I wouldn't notice you following her? You thought I couldn't track you here? Ted, you're getting old. I put a tracker in Luna's phone last night. The second you left Chinatown, I was right behind you." He'd known Ted would panic. The night before, he'd installed a micro-tracker in Luna's phone and assigned 2 security guards to watch her. When he saw she'd been kidnapped, he'd called Agent Mike immediately and rushed to Oakland. Ted looked at the SEC agents closing in. He knew he was trapped. Suddenly, he pulled a gun from his waistband and pointed it at Luna. "Don't come any closer. I'll kill her." Everyone froze. No one had expected Ted to carry a gun. Luna's heart raced. But when she looked at Ethan's eyes, she felt calm. His gaze was steady, like he was telling her, "Trust me." Ethan held up his hands, signaling everyone to stop. His eyes never left Ted's gun hand. "Ted, put the gun down. Killing her won't help, you'll just get a longer sentence. You know what federal charges for kidnapping and attempted murder look like. Longer sentence." Ted laughed, wild now. I've already lost everything. I'm going down, and I'm taking her with me. He pulled the trigger. Ethan reacted instantly. He tackled Luna to the ground. The bullet grazed his arm, blood soaking through his white shirt. Ethan! Luna screamed, throwing her arms around his injured arm. The SEC agents rushed forward, tackling Ted to the ground and yanking the gun away. Ted struggled, shouting, "I'll get you both." Ethan! Luna! You'll regret this. Police arrived minutes later, dragging Ted away. He'd face charges of kidnapping, attempted murder, and securities fraud, at least 20 years in prison. Only Luna and Ethan were left in the factory. Luna stared at Ethan's bleeding arm, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, this is my fault. You got hurt because of me." Ethan lifted his uninjured hand, wiping her tears. A small smile played on his lips. Crying. "It's just a scratch. And protecting you, isn't that what partners do?" Luna froze. She looked up at his eyes, no more coldness, just warmth and concern. Her heart raced. Her cheeks heated up. Ethan looked at her blushing face and smiled. "Come on. Stop crying. The evidence is safe. Tomorrow, at the board meeting, Ted'll get what he deserves. Your father's name will be cleared." Luna nodded, wiping her tears. She helped Ethan stand up, supporting his injured arm as they walked out of the factory. The moon was bright, stars dotting the sky. They walked in silence along the quiet road, but there was no awkwardness, just a quiet understanding between them. "Ethan," Luna said suddenly. He looked at her. "What?" "Thank you. For helping me. For saving me." Her voice was soft. "And, thank you for making me feel like I'm not alone anymore." Ethan stopped. He turned to her, his eyes serious. "Luna, from now on, you'll never be alone again." His eyes were bright, like stars. Luna's heart beat faster. She looked at him, and suddenly realized, revenge wasn't her only goal anymore. This man had quietly walked into her heart. The next morning, Voss Technologies held a special board meeting. The conference room was packed with board members. Tension hung in the air thick enough to cut with a knife. Ted was in police custody, but his loyalists still fought to save their jobs. Ethan sat at the head of the table, his injured arm in a bandage. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp as blades. Luna sat beside him, holding the USB drive with all the evidence. Ethan. Mark, Ted's right-hand man and Voss's vice president, slammed his fist on the table. "You falsely accused Mr. Voss. You had the SEC arrest him without proof. This is an abuse of power. I demand an emergency shareholder meeting to remove you as CEO." Other Ted loyalists chimed in. "Yes. Remove Ethan. Mr. Voss built this company. Ethan's an outsider, his father was Ted's brother, not Ted. He has no right to run Voss. Free Mr. Voss." Ethan said nothing. He nodded at Luna. She plugged the USB drive into the projector. The screen lit up with evidence. First, the partnership agreement between Ted and Nova, the forged financial statements, signed by Ted, and the recordings of former Nova employees, proof that Ted had stolen Nova's algorithm and framed Daniel. Then, evidence of Ted's crimes at Voss, transferring 15 million in a project funds to his illegitimatiesens company, with kickbacks, faking trivial expenses to embezzle million annually, and setting up 5 offshore accounts in Panama and the Cayman Islands to hide 300 million in Voss assets. Finally, footage from the Oakland factory, Ted kidnapping Luna, holding her at gunpoint, and the shooting, all captured by hidden factory cameras. Police photos of the gun were displayed too. As the evidence played, the room grew quieter and quieter. Finally, it was silent. The board members' faces shifted from doubt to shock to anger. How could Ted do this? I trusted him for years, and he was stealing from us the whole time. Ethan did the right thing. This monster should have been taken down years ago. Mark's face turned ashen. He slumped in his chair, unable to speak. Ethan stood up. His voice was firm, clear. Board members, the evidence against Ted is irrefutable. The SEC has opened a formal investigation. I'll cooperate fully to recover all stolen assets. For Nova Innovations, I'll return all of Nova's assets and pay $50 million in compensation, covering patent royalties and damages to their reputation. He paused, looking at Luna. His tone softened. Additionally, Ms. Luna Moore, rightful heir to Nova Innovations, has agreed to a strategic partnership with Voss. We'll co-develop a new AI voice assistant, Nova's core algorithm combined with Voss's technology platform. I believe this project will keep Voss at the forefront of AI innovation for at least 2 years. The board members broke into applause. They looked at Luna with admiration. This woman was brave, smart, and willing to set aside revenge for collaboration. A rare find. Luna stood up, bowing slightly to the board. Thank you for your trust. My father dedicated his life to Nova. I hope to honor his legacy by working with Ethan to bring Nova's technology to the world, and to contribute to Voss's success. Just then, the conference room door opened. A man in a hospital gown was wheeled in, Daniel, Luna's father. His face was pale, but his eyes were bright. When he saw Luna, tears filled his eyes. Luna, my girl. We finally got justice. Dad. Luna rushed over, throwing her arms around him. Tears poured down her face. I'm sorry it took so long, but your name is clear now. Everything's going to be okay. Daniel patted her back, his voice unsteady. I knew you could do it, Luna. My brave girl. The board members watched, moved. They applauded again, for the father and daughter, for justice long overdue. Ethan walked over, bowing slightly to Daniel. Mr. Moore, I'm sorry for everything you and Luna went through. From now on, I'll take care of her. And I'll help you rebuild Nova. Voss will invest in Nova as an independent subsidiary, with you and Luna running it. Daniel looked at Ethan, his eyes filled with trust. Thank you, Ethan. I know Luna's in good hands with you. The applause grew louder. Everyone celebrated the long-awaited justice. SEC agents led Ted's loyalists away. They'd face their own legal consequences. Ethan looked at Luna, who was still hugging her father. She smiled, bright and unburdened, like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Sunlight streamed through the windows, lighting up her face. This wasn't the end. It was a new beginning. He'd taken down Ted and protected Voss. And he'd found someone who made him want to let go of his coldness, someone worth fighting for. The future would be hard, but with Luna by his side, he could face anything. After the meeting, Luna wheeled her father out of the conference room. Ethan walked beside them. The sun was shining. The salty breeze from San Francisco Bay brushed their faces. Ethan, Luna said, stopping. She looked up at him. You said when we took Ted down, I'd buy you seafood. Ethan smiled. You gonna back out now? Never, Luna said, smiling back. Tonight, Fisherman's Wharf. I know a place with the best clam chowder in the city. Deal, Ethan said. His eyes softened. But I have one condition. What? From now on, spend your weekends with me. Only me. Luna's cheeks turned pink. She nodded, her voice quiet but sure. Okay. Daniel watched them, smiling. He shook his head, his daughter had finally found happiness. The sun shone down on them, warm and bright. Justice had been served. Love had bloomed. The future was full of hope. This was the perfect ending, one that made readers cheer, empathize, and believe in second chances. The first weekend after the board meeting, Ethan kept his promise. He went to Fisherman's Wharf with Luna. The old seafood restaurant was packed, but Ethan had reserved a window table with a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. Luna ordered 2 bowls of clam chowder and a lobster roll, her father's favorite. "Try this," Luna said, picking a clam from her bowl and holding it out to Ethan. "The clams here are so fresh, no sand at all." Ethan opened his mouth, taking the clam. He looked at her smile, and his heart felt soft. He'd never believed in love at first sight, until he met Luna. The woman who'd stayed calm when coffee was thrown at her, who'd fixed a $2 million blueprint with a quick sketch, who'd faced a gun to protect evidence, she'd slowly, surely, walked into his heart. "Nova's subsidiary will be official next month," Ethan said, wiping his mouth. "I've had legal draft the documents. You and your father will each own 40%, Voss will take 20%, but no voting rights. We'll just provide funding and tech support." Luna stared at him. 20%? That's too little. Voss is putting in so much money and resources. "Not too little," Ethan interrupted. "Nova was your father's life's work. It belongs to you. I'm investing in Nova because of you. I want you to do what you love, without hiding who you are, without cleaning floors for a living." Luna's heart skipped a beat. She looked down at her chowder, hiding her blushing cheeks. "Thank you, Ethan." "You're welcome," Ethan said. He reached across the table, gently taking her hand. "I meant what I said. I'll take care of you." After dinner, they walked along the bay. The wind blew Luna's hair, and Ethan brushed it back from her face. His finger grazed her earlobe. Luna shivered slightly. "Oh, and one more thing," Ethan said, remembering. "I've arranged for your father to transfer to Seattle's best private rehab center. They have top neurologists, he'll get the best care." Luna stopped, looking up at him. "Ethan, you don't have to do all this for me." "I want to," Ethan said, his eyes serious. "Luna, I like you. Not because we're partners, not because I feel sorry for you. Because of you, your courage, your intelligence, your kindness. I want to be with you. Not just for now, forever." Luna's eyes filled with tears. For 3 years, she'd lived in darkness, never daring to hope for happiness. But looking at Ethan's sincere eyes, she nodded. Her voice was soft, shaky. "I like you too, Ethan." Ethan smiled. He pulled her into a hug. The sunset painted the bay gold, the Golden Gate Bridge glowing in the distance. It was perfect, like a dream. In the weeks that followed, Ethan turned into a Silicon Valley CEO in love, and everyone at Voss noticed. Every morning, he arrived 30 minutes early, bringing Luna her favorite matcha latte and croissants from San Francisco's famous Tartine bakery. When Luna worked late, he stayed in his office, working on his own projects until she was done. Then they'd go get late-night tacos from a food truck near the office. On weekends, he drove to Seattle with her, visiting Daniel in rehab. He'd chat with Daniel, help him with physical therapy, even bring him his favorite vintage jazz records. He bought an apartment in Pacific Heights, with a view of the bay. The living room had Luna's favorite succulents, the bedroom had photos of Daniel, and the home office had old Nova blueprints. Every detail was thought of with her in mind. The Voss employees were shocked. The cold, work-obsessed Ethan Voss had turned into a wife guy overnight. Once, during a design meeting, David accidentally spilled coffee on Luna's laptop. Ethan's face darkened immediately. He had admin bring her a brand new MacBook Pro on the spot, and chewed David out, though Luna later apologized for Ethan's overreaction. Another time, Ted's illegitimate son tried to smear Luna on social media, calling her a gold digger who used Ethan for power. Ethan had legal send a cease and desist letter, and used his connections to sink the son's startup. After that, no one dared say a bad word about Luna. Luna changed too. She stopped hiding her smile, learned to rely on Ethan, learned to express her feelings. She'd make him hot soup when he worked late, bake him a, slightly burnt, birthday cake, and help him solve work problems, like optimizing the new headquarters designed to save $2 million. 3 months later, Nova AI, the new subsidiary, officially launched. Silicon Valley's elite attended the opening: Google's CEO, Amazon's executives, MIT professors. Daniel sat in a wheelchair, watching Luna speak. Pride shone in his eyes. Nova AI's mission is to make AI serve people, Luna said, her voice strong and clear. As my father always said, technology isn't just cold code. It's hope, warm, human hope. Ethan watched her from the crowd, his eyes filled with love. She'd finally reclaimed her light. After the launch, Ethan took Luna's hand and led her to the bay. He pulled a velvet box from his pocket, dropping to one knee. He opened the box. Inside was a unique diamond ring. The band was 2 interlocking spirals, like the staircase Luna had sketched, with a blue sapphire in the center. "Luna Moore," Ethan said, his voice slightly nervous. "I know I've never been romantic. I've made mistakes, and I've let you down. But I promise, every day for the rest of our lives, I'll love you, protect you, support you. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Luna's face. She nodded vigorously. "Yes. Ethan, yes." Ethan slipped the ring on her finger. He stood up, pulling her into a tight hug. Fireworks exploded in the distance, lighting up the bay, and their smiling faces. Year later, Luna and Ethan married at a winery in Seattle. Daniel walked her down the aisle. He could now walk with a cane. He handed her hand to Ethan, his voice unsteady. "Take care of her, Ethan. Don't let her suffer again." "I will, Dad," Ethan said, his voice firm. At the wedding, Luna wore a white wedding dress. She held a bouquet of sunflowers. Daniel had told her they symbolized hope and light. As she looked at Ethan, she thought of the janitor uniform she'd worn 3 years ago, how she'd been full of anger and fear, how she'd never imagined this happiness. None of this was by chance. It was her courage, Ethan's help, and the power of justice that had pulled her out of darkness. After the wedding, Luna and Ethan ran Nova AI together. The company thrived. Their AI voice assistant, Nova, became a Silicon Valley hit, with over 100 million users. Luna became a well-known female entrepreneur, speaking at conferences to encourage other women to chase their dreams. In their free time, they'd visit Daniel in Seattle, walking with him through the winery's vineyards. They'd go back to Fisherman's Wharf for clam chowder. They'd sit in their Pacific Heights apartment, watching the bay, talking about their future. Sometimes, Luna would ask Ethan, "Do you regret it? Giving up some control at Voss to help me with Nova AI?" Ethan would pull her into his arms, smiling. "No regrets. Because a future with you is the best future I could ever want." Sunlight streamed through the windows, warming them. Once a janitor, now a Silicon Valley queen. Once a cold CEO, now a loving husband. Their story became a legend in Silicon Valley, a reminder that no matter how dark your past, hope and courage can light your way. And true love? It's not about power or money. It's about lifting each other up, finding warmth in each other, and walking toward a better future, together.